Hello and welcome back to Haven and Hearth. Alright, so a little bit of stuff has happened in the interim here. You can see I've got big old piles here. I've also got a few other things like this anvil. This pile, all the three of these piles, is entirely entrails, which will, of course, get eventually used for liver and onions in order to help get our psyche up. That is a very good. What else? What else? All right, I got that spinning wheel. I've got, oh, of course, this guy here. This is for sausage making. What exactly? I don't think I actually have this available to build, is the thing. No, I do not actually have this available to build, but fortunately, the sausages themselves do not take having discovered it, I don't believe. Where is... Do I not have... Oh, you know what? I don't have it yet. Ha ha ha. I do not have the necessary skill for sausage making. Where are you, sausage making? Silk farming. Oh, no, wait. Do I not? I thought... Because, see, I thought I had it. So, stoneworking, sewing... Alright, I don't have it. And I don't have it immediately available, which means it's locked behind something. Now, what might it be locked behind? What indeed? Forging, maybe? I consider that to be possible. Regardless, this is the, like the meat grinder. And that is basically a necessary tool for sausage making. But fortunately, you don't actually have to discover it since it's a buildable item, not a, not a craftable item. Um, so you just need that. You need, of course, I only have one here apparently, intestines. I will have to see about working on that a bit more. Entrails can be turned into a artificial sausage casing, so that might end up happening as well. But that it was basically one of the last things we needed. Remember when I said last episode that there were still a few things to unlock just a little bit more? Well, this is one of the last of them. There's this. There is, of course, the smoker, or the smoke shed, and I think that's about it. But this requires a hard metal to make, I believe, if I remember correctly. So this is only quality 19, but it's better than not having one. But that does mean that we're probably going to want to get a lot of meat in the very near future, because I have a little bit of meat here and there. I got some rabbit, I got some chicken, which are, of course, are going to be the things I can get the most easily. I even have a couple more dead chickens there waiting to be plucked. But we are probably going to want to set up a rabbit hutch and a chicken coop before too long. Oh, I just saw, and I can't believe I almost forgot one of the most important things that I got, is this other composter, which is quality 60, which is a vast improvement over our quality 10 one that we had. Now you might be like, hey, where's all this stuff coming from? Well, I found right here a little abandoned settlement. So I started looting that. Instead of going all the way to the other one that I was looting, I happened to find that, and, I said I was going to be like, oh, I'm going to be mining and, eating food. I had decided to go out to look for more of the wild windzone weeds because, as I had also said, now that we're baking, I really wanted barley. And I knew I could also use, like, millet seeds and a few other things here and there as well. Well, of course, that settlement had some. Hey, alright, so I've got flax seeds, which I had also said I really wanted, since flax is flax produces linen cloth, slightly easier than hemp. I got a bunch of, like, quality 50 poppy seeds, because we're going to need those poppy seeds before too much longer. Lettuce, because we didn't have it. Millet, because I found some. Only a few, so we're going to have to build those up, but it's 120 quality. And then, of course, I got a whole bunch of barley seeds. This was all the barley seeds that were available. So let's go ahead and get some of this stuff planted, since we're kind of going to need it. Oh, I did find a second another beehive. There were actually several of them there. I just took the one that was the highest quality, which is quality 34. Alright, so let's see. Let's get this millet down first. I'll only be able to put in 2 of it, unfortunately. Let's see. Lettuce. No, let's do the flax next, which we have enough for 10. And this is all just temporary placement, basically. Poppy seeds, which I again have enough for 10, but we can only fit 9 in this row, so we'll have to get the last one over 1. Like so. And then our lettuce. Like this. Excellent. Now, we'll go put those last 4 millet seeds away, since we need 5 to plant. And it is barley time. I will leave those last 31. Alright, so let's see. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I don't know that I'm going to do all of that, but yeah, let's just kind of do this. Yeah, that'll be all but the very last of it. Actually, I could probably go grab those last 30 seeds and get the last of it, too. We are going to want lots of barley, because the barley flour, like I said, when you're using it for regular bread, it adds strength to the con, which we are going to need lots of strength. Now, mind you, it's still going to be primarily a con food, but that occasional ding of strength when eating it will definitely help here and there. Yeah, I think I'm going to go grab that last of those seeds and just... Well, I'll grab 15 of them at least, because that's all it's going to take. Boop. Nope, I didn't want that. I wanted... Nope, nope, nope. There we go. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Split. 15. Correct. There we go. Now there's still enough left there to plant a few more, just in case something goes wildly wrong somehow, which I don't really know how, but just in case. And this has completely filled up 3 rows, which is not quite as much as the wheat we're producing, but close enough. Okay, next thing on the list. I have been increasing my survival. I have got my survival up to 25, and been checking our little water source here. 24. It stopped going up at 24. So that is the peak quality of this particular water source. Not as good as I might have hoped, but it's definitely far better than just a random quality 10, which would be the standard of, you could expect from any random spot out in the world. So, not great, not terrible. We might want to find a better water source at some point. I found a well out in the wild that was only a 22, so that is not an option. That outpost that I kind of found out there had a barrel that I probably should have brought back of, I think it was quality 60 water or 50 water. It was 50, I think. So there's a well out there somewhere that has quality 50. There's probably a well out there that has well better than that, seeing as the last time I played back in, I think, World 14, somebody had a well up in the 120s. Before too terribly long, and this has been up for quite a while. So, We'll find out. We'll find out. Okay. So then it becomes a matter of what do I want to do? Well, I'm going to eventually need a smithing hammer because I've got the anvil, which again, as a buildable object, I don't need to discover in order to unlock the recipes for it. However, it does require a smithing hammer, which I don't have. So basically, this is only quality 14, so it's not a great one. But it has effectively saved me the metal of making it, which requires a hard metal. I believe this one's bronze, just from the look of it, which we do not have access to just yet. So there is that. So we're going to still need that. We want to get... Do I want to put a chicken coop up here somewhere, or do I want to... Because I kind of want to just clear out more area, like, down below, put up another claim, and do most of my animal farming subterranean. It's a good use of space, because you can generally do most of your animal farming down there. You just have to remember to feed them, which you got to do up on the surface anyway, so maybe. I'll think about that. I will definitely think about that. I also might want... Oh, wait a minute. Did I have... Oh, yeah. We should probably get some leeks going. I don't think I can just take the existing leeks and make them... Turnip. Pumpkin. Hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and get some of these things going. There's not a lot of recipes. Leeks count as an onion. But there's not a lot of recipes where it is the best choice, but there are a few. So let's just go ahead. Ooh, I guess that was already a spot that was taken. There we go. Get these going just so we can kind of discover them. There's definitely some good stuff for pumpkin, on the other hand. So we'll definitely want to do that. These are my existing poppy seeds, aren't they? Yes. Which are much lower than the ones I just planted. Well, I guess not necessarily much lower. 34 as opposed to 50. Still. Alright, we got ourselves a few... Oh, did I not get that one? Oh. Somehow I missed one. Okay. Let's just replant just that little strip of 5. And we're getting a bunch of XP for stuff. Did I have anything else I really wanted to do? I've got... See, so I've been storing a bunch of these fibers here, the hemp fibers here. They're 47. And I really kind of want to make a better one of these herbalist benches. That's quality 29. That's the highest one we've found. Because the quality of the herbalist bench will affect quality of new planted trees. I could cut down one of these higher quality trees to get the wood for the bench, which would be good for the blocks, because the blocks don't get affected by any of the tool qualities. However, the boards do, and all I've got is a quality 20 saw, which would drag down the quality of whatever one I grab. So I kind of want to get a higher quality saw first, which means higher quality bone, or finding copper in high enough so that I can basically unlock bronze, hard metal, and make a metal saw. One or the other. Unfortunately, I don't know where copper is, but there is a solution to that. I don't think I have any at the moment, however, even with all of my looking around. And I think this is actually one of those things I would need to discover anyway. Yeah, I don't have any. So there is a forageable called rust root, which you use to make the rust root elixir in a cauldron, like the little guy over here. And when you use rust root elixir, it not only tells you what is the material that you are directly standing on, whatever tile you're on. Like if I was on this, it would tell me whatever is directly below me, including the possibility of empty space. But it will also check a radius based on its quality for any metal deposits. And it'll give you a little pie wedge shape that'll kind of point you in the direction if it finds one on the layer below you. So I would basically be up here and be like, all right, I'm looking for metal deposits. Now, I couldn't find copper on layer 1. That is just, there is none. But if I were to come down onto layer 1 and use it down here, it would point me towards metal deposits on layer 2, which we then, of course, have access to. Now, of course, right here is empty space, so it would tell me empty space, but there's that possibility of it just kind of being like, hey, there's, some sort of metal ore that way. And then I could walk around and use it again until I find it. Then the only challenge is figuring out where that spot is on the next layer down, because, it's like, okay, it's like where that bat is. All right, well, I go down here. All right, well, that would be like kind of just barely in this wall. So the mini-map is really useful there, but only insofar as you can see your own mine holes. So, a little bit of a challenge. But I do not currently have any restaurant. And it is fairly common once you start finding it, but I think I need to increase my exploration and perception. So that's a little bit of a thing, especially since I don't currently have a lot of learning points, because I spent so much leveling up my survival to find the cap on that water. Heck, I haven't even leveled up my carpentry anymore yet. We are about to get a little bit more, but I think I'm gonna just try towards the sausage making, because the dex and agility sausage that will be available to me from the rabbit and the chicken is really good. Alright, I need to organize my thoughts a few moments here to kind of figure out what we're going to be doing next. Because I got all that stuff planted, I've gone over all the stuff I found. That was about as far as I planned so far. So, I'm going to take a moment and think about it, and be right back. Alright, I am back. I have given it a bit of thought. And before we get on to the thing I decided I'm going to spend the rest of the episode on, there's one more task that I've kind of been putting off that I feel like we need to do first. So I'm going to grab 6 of these hemp fibers. Actually, I'm going to grab a little more than 6. Let me put those 2 back. Grab these 4. Alright. So I've got 8 hemp fibers. I'm going to come inside, and I'm going to come over to the loom, and we are going to make ourselves one more piece of hemp cloth, which takes 6 of them. Now, of course, my sewing skill is rather atrocious, so this is going to come down a lot. Yep, came down to 30 from the 47. Well, and whatever the quality on our loom here is, 33, so yeah, it came down below the quality of the loom. That's because of my my rather poor skill. And one of these has another piece of, here we go, 28 hemp cloth. So now I have 2 hemp cloth and 2 additional fibers. So we're going to pop back up, go over here, and I'm going to craft myself some pants. Some hemp pants instead of this weird birch bark stuff I've been wearing. We'll just go ahead and craft that. There we go. And of course I got the XP from crafting something. Alright. Let's see. We want... That's the wrong thing. There we go. This is what we want. Alright, so these pants have a gilding on them. Or no, they do not have a gilding on them. They have the ability to be gilded. So do these. They are different. Right? You can see this gilding has the little sewing symbol. And this one has the sewing symbol, the survival symbol, and the lore symbol. But I just don't want to be wearing those pants anymore. There we go. Now I've got some slightly better looking pants. They're green, but, you know, whatever. A little bit better. We'll be able to do that with a shirt eventually, probably after the next hemp harvest, or maybe the flax harvest, if that happens, you know, relatively soon. All right, let's dump these pants in there where we got the hemp cloth from. I just wanted to get these pants. I'm not going to gild them today or anything, but I just kind of felt like, you know, we did that whole episode where I was getting new clothing pieces and stuff like that, and we didn't quite get to the pants or the shirt, so I was like, you know what, I got the stuff for the pants, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to grab this cart, and I'm going to move it, generally speaking, out of the way. Like, we'll put it kind of, that'll do. Because I've decided over here is going to be a good place to put a chicken coop. Of course, in order to do that, I first have to have the animal husbandry skill, which also happens to be the skill that I'm missing for getting sausage making, which is part of what influenced this decision. So, animal husbandry, I have the points for. I've actually gained more LP. One of those ghost pipes finished in the interim there. You can see there's onto a new one. I've also put in a poppy flower and stuff like that, but that finished while I was thinking, so we've got that points. So, animal husbandry, buy, and then we can go find sausage making. Should be down here now, because it's just animal husbandry and farming are what are required for sausage making. And that's 1,200, which I now have the points for. So we'll go ahead and buy sausage making as well. There we go. Alright, so now, farming and animals. Nope. Alright, it's counted as a building. Alright, chicken coop. As you can see, it'll be like that. Now, like I said, I had made comment about wanting to do it downstairs. I can always do it later. Chicken coops do not have a quality. So, there is absolutely nothing stopping me from making as many as I want with whatever random resources I have on hand. Now, I need 15 of these. So let's kind of grab this. Because if you look, the chicken coop, where is it? There it is, requires 5 straw. But it also requires 10 thatching material. And straw is a thatching material. So I might as well just use it since I've got a whole bunch. There's also 15 boards and 10 blocks, but we'll get to that. That we will get to. Let's get it in place first. Now, of course, the materials you use affects the way it looks, just like with most of these buildings. But let's kind of want to get it close to the wall without touching it. There we go. All right, let's get these in, and then we can get the rest of the materials a-going. Do I have my saw on me? I do. So let's get the boards first then, since that's these ever so slightly more difficult. Let's make boards. Alright, so it's 15, so that means I'll need 3 inventories full since I can hold 5. Although, good luck, seeing as I just used up that log. And yeah, this is another one of those things that's gonna change how it looks. But this will probably end up being a secondary color since I'm probably going to have to use this pine for the rest. I mean, I could always go out and look for another thing, but this is only quality 14, so it's not much better than you're gonna find in nature anyway. And I might just go over to that little outpost that I found, because they had a whole bunch of very obviously farmed trees planted around there. So I might go grab some of that at some point if I actually need, like, higher quality stuff. That's another option. Although, obviously, it being so far away, it's going to be a little bit difficult to haul stuff back. I can take the cart. The cart is about the best option. I can fit 6 of things in the cart. But, again, a little bit difficult even getting it over there because there is some uneven terrain on the route. Which means taking longer ways around and being less able to run from things like bears. Not that I've seen bears, but I have seen, like, the wolverines and stuff, so Alright. That should be all the boards we need. There we go. Alrighty. And let's just kind of come over here and chop this into blocks. I need 10, which I'm not going to be able to fit in my inventory. I mean, I can only fit 8. Oh, that's something you might have noticed that I hadn't mentioned yet. There was an update, which I thought had primarily been for the New World, and primarily it was, but one of the things that changed, they changed the color of the quality on the, basically on items. When it's just sitting there like that, you can see it's blue now instead of white, which I'll admit is a little bit easier to read. So, rather than white on whatever color it happened to be, it's that weird, like, almost turquoise blue, some sort of, like, azure that, they've got going on there, which is probably less likely to clash with whatever random colors they have. Oh, hey, I got the XP for drinking water. Alright, we need 2 more, and then our chicken coop is done. And there we go. Alright, and you might ask, why did you start with a chicken coop? Hey, there we go. See, it's the pine color. It's got the color of the rotted wood for the for all the little trim there, and it's got the straw for the thatching. Alright, so this is the chicken coop. Got a thing for fodder and a thing for drink. So basically, any food item and a few select other things can be thrown in and get converted into fodder. Water is, of course, the drink is just, of course, water, which we will probably end up doing. You know what? Now that I've capped out the thing, I'm going to come over to this barrel of water. I'm going to empty it because it's quality 10. Alright, we're going to pick it up, refill it from the spring, which is the word I was looking for earlier when trying to describe that water source. Come on. I'm going to come over this way, ever so slowly, and fill up our chicken coop. Which, as you see, the little dish there now has water in it. So it's got a little visual sign of, hey, there is water in here. That goes away once it reaches about half, so that it's like a good visual cue to know, oh, hey, I need to water the chickens. All right, we're going to set that down there. It used 30 out of it, which is, of course, what it put in there. We will need to put some food in. I'll give some thought to that for, a little bit. We don't need it immediately until we have chickens in there. Right, and I was saying, why did I start with chickens? Well, we have the rabbit hutch here, and as you can see, it requires 2 bone glue. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, right? I mean, I've got some bones. Look, I got a big pile of bones here. Well, it's a little pile of bones. It's only 7 bones. You need 10 for 1 wood glue. Now, I can come in here and be like, hey, I've got some more bones laying around, right? Well, there's these 2, cleaned chickens. I could get 2 bones from that. And let's see. Oh, look, there's 2 bones sitting there. All right, well, that's 4. There's a squirrel there. I could get 1 out of that. That's 5. Oh, look, 2 chickens. That's 1 each, so that's another 7. Unfortunately, we need 20. And 7 is only 14. So, we're basically going to need more bones before we can worry about the rabbit hutch. Rabbits are a little bit more difficult to catch anyway, so I'm not too terribly concerned about it. But we're going to need chickens. And as long as I get the chickens breeding, which is not hard to do as long as you get, a hen and a cock, it's, going to be producing additional bones, so it's a good start. You don't need bones to get it, but it will produce bones. Now we'll just have to go out, find some, find some chickens, which I'm in the right biome for, because I found them around here. That's why I have, gotten so much of the chicken meat and stuff. But this will also end up unlocking eggs for us, which actually gives us a lot of food options once we have it. I'm going to go find some chickens and figure out exactly what I want to put in here for food. Because normally what I do is I end up taking... there is a bunch of this stuff, isn't there? I was going to say, I usually end up grabbing a bunch of the seeds from, like, the barley and stuff, but I've got these wheat seeds that are less. See, I've only got 300. Those are the lower quality ones, because over here I've got a big thing of the higher quality. Well, I'm going to give it some thought. I've just realized we've actually hit the episode length, so that is probably about to do it. Let's take a quick gander around. We got our chicken coop built. That's good. Efficient chicken farming basically requires at least 3 coops. So you have one where they're breeding, one where you have them just laying eggs, and a third one where you can pull the cock out of the breeding one and put it in there to keep it alive. So that, you can be like, hey, we need to, not have, more chickens happening for the time being. Actually, you can even do 4, because you can have a 4th coop that is just, I'm going to shove the chicks in there and let them grow up. Which, is a little bit, basically ends up leaving a little bit of stress off. But I don't think we're ready for 4 coops yet. We can start with 1. And I think, yeah. So we got pants, we got the chicken coop. We've gone over all the random loot I found. Yeah, so I'm gonna get ourselves some chickens, because you've seen me catch chickens before, so that's not a big deal. I will put something in there for food. I will continue mining. I will continue, eating food to, level things up, and probably also level up a few abilities here and there. I do need to get back to carpentry. I would like to get a higher unarmed combat so we can actually start fighting things. Yeah. Should probably raise my sewing as well. So much to do. So few LP to, to spend. But that is going to do it for this episode. So, until next time, have a good one.